Hello, everyone. This week, we're going to read two Parashat Matot and Masei. Candlelighting for this week is 8:05, and Shabbat tomorrow will finish at 9:13. That's according to Rav Moshe Feinstein, which is 15 minutes after sunset. Now, in this week's Parsha, he talks about how how Jewish people, after they conquered the lands of Og and Sichon and all those lands. Now, of course, the land of Og and Sichon, it was with Israel, with the northern part of Israel, and eastern and northern part of Israel. And so two tribes, Gad and Reuven, they came to Moshe and they said, "We like this land. We have a lot of sheep. We have a lot of cattle." And they said, "We like this land and we want to stay in this land. We want this land to be our land." Now, when Moshe heard this, he said, "What? You don't want to go into Israel? Why do you want to make same mistake as your cousins or as your relatives? As other Jews who complain and they said that they don't want to go to Israel, and then they got punished and everything." So what they answered is, the Gad and Reuven, what they answered was, they said like this. They said, "This is what we want to do." They said to Moshe, "We want to build sheep pens for our livestock here and towns for our children. Then we'll go quickly and at the head of the army and fight until the land is conquered and apportioned. Only then we'll return to our homes." So this is what they answered to Moshe. Now, what did Moshe answer? Moshe answered them, "All right." So he said, "Build towns for your children and pens for your sheep, and make sure you keep your word." Now, if you pay attention, there was a difference between Reuven, the way Reuven and Shimon, the tribes of Reuven and Shimon, the way they answer to Moshe and the way Moshe answers back to them. And the difference is like this. First, Reuven and Gad, they said, "We will build pens for our sheep and our livestock, but then we'll build cities for our children. Then we'll build cities for our children." Now, and what did Moshe answer? Moshe answered them, "No. First you build cities for your children, and then you build pens for your sheep and for your livestock and everything else." Now, what did the Reuven and Gad wanted to tell Moshe? They want to tell him, "Listen, first we want to take care of our animals, so they shouldn't be bothering us, and then we'll build cities." But Moshe said, No. He said, "This is your thinking backwards. So first of all, you have to take care of your children. First of all, you have to build towns for your children. Make sure to have, meaning first you have to take care of everything with your family and children. Afterwards, you can build pens for your sheep, but first you have to take care of your children. Then you worry about your cattle." Now, there's a Midrash that says in Kohelet, Midrash quotes a Kohelet that says, "The heart of the wise man is on the right, and the heart of the fool is on the left." Now, what does it mean? It means that you have to make your priorities straight. What is important, more important for you? What's more important for you, and what's not so important for you? Which means there's always, I know many things are important, but there's always priorities. There's a more important, there's a less important. A person has to know what to prioritize, what should be more important. Unfortunately, this incident, what happened then, thousands of years ago, it's still continuing our days also. In our days also, what do we prioritize? Do we prioritize our money? Do we prioritize our possession, or our children and our families? Yeah. Do we care more about the work and money and how to build a house and how to have a fancier car, which means I have to spend much more time working, and my children, they'll grow up themselves like pumpkins. They'll grow up with babysitter and this and that, which means children are growing themselves. But in my mind, in my mindset, in my life, My property is more important. My possession is more important. My money is more important. We have to see what should be a priority in our life, possession or our children. Now, Rashi writes in this week's parsha also that the tribes of Gad and Reuven, they did not return to their homes right away. They returned after 14 years. So, which means after 14 years, why? Because after they built after they built houses and cities for their children, they went and they fought with Jewish people to conquer the land of Israel, and then they had to divide the land of Israel among the tribes, and only then God, the tribe of Gad and Reuven, they came back to their families, which took around 14 years. So after they came, now imagine they left their children. Let's say they was 3 years old, 4 years old. Now they didn't see their children for 14 years. When they came back, Rashi says they didn't recognize their children. Their children looked like goyim. They looked like Gentiles. They had long hair. The way they dressed was, and the way they dressed looked different. Now why? This was also part of punishment. Meaning, what do you prioritize in your life? Your children or your possession? Meaning, in their eyes, our possession was important. So Moshe was teaching them, no, your children are more important than your possession. Your family is more important than your possession. And this is the lesson that we always have to remember. Rav Tzadok HaKohen says something very interesting. He says, the desire for money is greater than any other material drive. Why? Because it's something that you could never, get satisfied from. Why? For example, you have desire to eat food. Yeah, you'll eat until you get full, but then you can't eat anymore. Or let's say there's a desire to commit adultery. There's a limit. Boom. After it's done, and desire goes away. But desire for money never ends. You do it and you want to do more and more and more and more and more and more and more. It never ends. So the quest for wealth can become more obsessive than any other quest. Now, we have to be careful that our children should not be the price of that wealth, which means we should not use our children as a sacrifice to make that wealth. Shabbat Shalom.